Hello, Naoto.
Awesome. Hey, everyone. Great. It's working here. Let's see where
Looks
Kevin
good,
is.
Naoto.
Here. Hey, Kevin.
How are you?
Can you hear me?
I can. I can.
I can't
I can hear you lots.
hear you, Kevin.
You can't hear me. Really?
Oh, let's see. Kevin?
I can hear you, Naoto.
Good.
Can you hear me?
Hey. I think this
perfect.
is good. I think I'm just going to double check how they look like on the YouTube here.
Yeah, because we want to see your hands while you're sharpening.
I think I'm just going to double check how they look like on the... Oh, there's no Kevin there, but they can hear you. That's good. Alrighty. Welcome to the Advanced Sharpening class. My name's Naoto. I'm just wearing the Sakai Takayuki this thing because my wife complains if I do a lot of sharpenings and get all the dirty mud on my t-shirt and my jeans. So I decided to wear something like this so that I don't get all the dirt coming on that t-shirt. Oh, alrighty. So today, I've actually asked some of my followers on the Instagram what they want to learn about this week's class. So a lot came up, and and thanks for contributing. Thanks for helping us out. But there were a lot of things like what the perfect angle for the hunting knives and stuff like that, which we can definitely talk about it, or the Japanese natural stones, which it could be a whole separate topic. Oh, Kevin, I may have to leave right at 5 today.
Okay.
My car is at the dealership, and the last pickup is 5. It was 4:30, but basically I asked them to, hey, can you delay for 30 minutes so I can do this?
Oh, that's good.
So,
And they said yes?
Yes. So they'll come
Perfect.
right around 5. They'll maybe call this phone number. So it goes. So if you have any questions, what I've decided to do today was that there is a question that the asking when to know. Yeah, how do you know when to thin? I guess I have been thinning knives quite a bit. I got a little bit of phone call. Just gonna have to take a break. Sorry.
You know what? I like how smooth our events always go.
Hello. Yeah. Hey.
Well, while Naoto has this phone call, I suppose we can talk about
Awesome. Thank you.
about what we're up to today. It's the advanced sharpening class we do every Friday afternoon, and we're doing it live from Calgary. I'm in my office, not at the shop. You can see.
Back.
And Naoto's back, but we're just ask us any questions if anything comes up, and we will get to responding to it.
Yeah. So yeah, I have been talking a lot about the thinning the knives and stuff like that, and to know when to thin is really the good point.
Every time.
Generally speaking, yes. The when you have the knife, something like this with the we call it the primary bevel and or kiriha or the shinogi construction with the secondary bevel, it's really good to thin it every time when you're sharpening it, because it's really to maintain your thinness rather than making the knife really thin. That's my take. Sometimes these knives that doesn't have any primary bevel to it, these guys could be a little bit more hard. So probably once in 5 sharpenings that when you try to cut the root vegetables, especially carrots, will tell you how thick your knives are. Or the good example is another one is a squash and such, or the sweet potatoes. So when you try to cut those dense, heavy vegetables and try to cut it, and when the food breaks, it doesn't cut all the way through and break. that's probably the time you want to have your knives thinned. And then it came to my mind. We have been thinning or sharpening knives for quite a while, and I have seen lots of different um, good ways and bad ways, and a lot of way that's could be improved more. It's the typical mistakes that you make when you're thinning your knives, and I would like to discuss and talk about that with you guys. Oh, someone got the Sunday Gourmet, got the Naniwa Professional 3000 today. That's fantastic stone. I love
That's a great stone. Yeah, yeah.
Alrighty, so the not a misconception, but the lot of people I have seen, the thinning had become a very popular thing in the sharpening world, and the we call it the hot rodding, as Kevin named it, hot rodding a knife. It's just big kind of job, right? Anyways, and we start to see more and more knives come in for us to sharpen, but it has been kind of touched up on the bevel, try to thin it, but not as properly. So it actually needed a lot more work to bring it back bring the original condition back for that particular knife. One of really the good example that I fixed it quite recently. So if you follow my Instagram, Naoto, NAOTO KW, my Instagram, couple posts ago, I posted the Koishi 210 Gyuto, which had the bevel very interesting. And that was the results and one of the most common mistake that people will make. So that the Japanese knives, especially these guys here, are constructed in this way, right? So this here is that where that the primary bevel starts, and it goes down like this.
Yeah.
Right? Where in reality it looks very straight, but in the reality it's more like on one on the left or right, or I don't know how they are showing
it's right for me.
This
yeah.
one on the right. Okay, so it's not super flat. The bevel is actually a little bit of convex to it, right? So what happens is that that particular knife that I sharpened quite recently, it was only thin probably about, I'm just gonna draw here. The first angle that it's sharpened, like right here, the customer or the person who is sharpening that particular knife thought he is doing the proper thinning job, but it was only working on the tip, which can happen very easy. I'll show you really quick. I do have this really nice I think 3000. Because I'm just.
And Naoto, what happens? What would happen if we only work on the tip section rather than the entire bevel there, the entire shinogi?
What had happened on that particular knife is that the so as he kept going like this way, the knife had become it's very exaggeration. It's a huge exaggeration, but it was a little bit more like very rounded, and it was as thick as not a knife that's not being thin, and it was cutting, it was wedging it quite a bit. I will show you how it was happened. So here, for the Instagram people, you see the knife on here. YouTube and Facebook, you should probably see that there as well. So what he's done is lot of times, so we say is that when you thin, you press it down on the bevel flat. But having said that, as I kind of mentioned, the bevel is not entirely flat, right? So what the particular person did is they press it down on very close to the edge right here, and worked. As you can see, this one is actually quite nice. So if you keep working on the way that you do this. Well, I'm just gonna start from the Instagram. It's because it's closer. You see only about, say, 5 millimeters along the edge has been sharpened.
Yep.
And if you keep going with this, you are basically exacerbating the thickness or the roundness of the bevel. Instead, what you want to do is you want to keep your basically the nice carve. If you want to make it super flat and straight, go for it. It's hard, but go for it. But so when you press down here, I just move my position of finger a little bit farther up on the bevel, so that I know that I'm working on the little bit more farther up on the bevel side, right? So as you can see now here, like I'm just gonna show you the tip. The higher it sharpen it at, sharpen a little bit higher here.
Yeah. What stone are you using now? So that's a great stone because it really, you can see what you're working on. You can see what's going on.
This one here is the Kensho Itadaki. Kensho is the fantastic stone series that we are going to bring pretty actually soon as a wholesaler. I think we got the deal of bringing those into sales finally. Kensho is the stones series of stones that's developed by this fantastic knife sharpener in Japan who is probably one of the best sharpeners in Japan and the nerdiest I've ever met. And
he's certainly the nerdiest.
yes. Not happy with the sharpening stones available in the market. He's tried all the stones from Naniwa, Shapton, Suehiro, and all those, and he was like, you know what? I'll collaborate with the sharpening stone company to create one, so that So this particular series, the Kensho, and the Kensho has 5 different lines, and each line has different purposes. Like it's Kensho Itadaki series. It's a checking stone. It's a hard vitrified stone. It's not really for everyone. You can definitely use it to sharpen them, but this is like great thing about this is that it will keep the flatness for longer. So it's great to check your knife condition. That's what I primarily using it for. But it tells you like where the flat spot is, where the low spot is on that knife.
And how does it tell you?
Oh, it's
by whispering in your ear.
Because it's color. It's white, and you can tell. I have to actually chew this to work better. But because it's white, and when you chew them, it even gets. Here you go. So when you chew them, it's pretty nice and white. There's no streak or anything like that. So when you try to actually, especially, for example, single bevel, see if the back is flat. I'll put that knife on the stone there, and do this, and see this knife. It touches right here. It's very flashy today, hey. I can't really even see. It touches on this part, but it leaves the white here, so it kind of tells that which part is not flat.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's this one. Anyways, that's why I was using actually this on and checking where the knife is touching. Another mistake that a lot of people do is as I said, when you have the bevel that is a little bit more convex like this, right? We've actually made a few mistakes when we first started thinning and stuff like that. It was like a while ago. We also thought just putting a flat on the and making a bevel super flat was the way to go. There's like one twice that thought it was how it's constructed, and we just went. So what we did is that instead that the one I was mentioning was going here at the very tip. What we did is that we basically, because it was carved, we tried to sharpen it at a little bit higher up here.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit higher up. So what happens? So like I'm just gonna show you how it can happen on this knife here. What can happen is that, so when you're just working on this flat spot for like the little bit higher spot, I guess for longer period of time, I'm not gonna do it for this one because it takes just way too long. But what happens is that it takes way too much steel wool, making it too thin, and also brings this beautiful kind of shinogi line upwards a lot more than it should. So what happens? What's wrong with it? One, you're making the edge way too thin. That's so much more fragile. It can actually chip much easier when you do. Also, it's taking way too long. I remember back then when I was learning how to thin the blade, I was just going on a very hard, like coarse stone, and I probably had to chew stones like a few times before it gets actually thin to this point that we were looking for at the time. But when you do that again, you're bringing the shinogi, this primary bevel, up way too much, and also making edge too thin. So that's really another common mistake. And relate to that, I mentioned this one. One of the probably first couple rounds of the advanced sharpening class. This particular knife is the big kind of weird old demo that we have here. So this one, another thing is the bevel is not sharpened at the same angle all the way. This concept is a little bit hard to grasp, but it's basically this. The knives, especially for the well-made handmade knives, has a really nice taper. It's very nice, thick at the heel part, and it tapers it down towards the tip, right? Because they start from chunk of steel, hammer, hammer, hammer. It's like they make a really nice taper to it. And by making a taper, what happens is that, especially if you have the tsuba that's more prominent, but what happens is that the heel, the bevel angle on the heel and the bevel angle on the tip is different. The heel angle is quite actually a bit higher, like this. And as it goes towards the tip, the angle gets a lot more shallower, right? So what you're getting is that the much thinner, very nicely tapered tip, and gets a little bit more tougher heel part. and I think it's the ideal shape for kitchen knives, because when you think about it, when you're making at the dicing onions, I do that or that, whatever. Use the tip to cut it into those things, right? And when you try to dice them, the part that actually hits on the cutting board the hardest is this part here, right? Because you're putting this motion on them, right? So it makes total sense to actually make this part a lot more stronger than the this part here as well. So what happens when you try to
Naoto, hold on a second.
yeah.
I'd been working with Japanese knives and selling them for probably 10 years before I learned that.
Yeah.
That was a revelation to me, that the angle was different
I know.
at the tip and the heel. I had no idea.
Yeah.
But it makes sense. It's just math, right?
Mhm.
If you get the nice shinogi line to be totally parallel to the edge, the angle changes. Anyway, that was a real eye opener for me.
I know that. Me too. It was
Yeah, I had no idea. So I'm glad that you can read these secret manuals that are all written in Japanese.
Yes.
Because I think it's important to know that last time Naoto and I were in Japan, he bought three. No, it was four textbooks or three textbooks. One was about forging, one was about sharpening, one was steel, and one was what? What was the fourth one?
Heat treating. I have.
Heat? You bought a whole book about heat treating?
Yeah, I do.
Oh man, you're crazy.
Yeah. So yeah,
Awesome.
One heat treating. I have knife, like a little bit, and I have another one that's for from Kia. The shacho from Kia wrote it, and I have I think I bought 3 or 4 at that time. It was quite nice. Anyways, what happens if you keep sharpening your edge with the same angle? Again, heel is a little bit thicker and tapers thinner towards the tip. So, say if you sharpen the bevel angle at the all the way from, they say, this is example, at the middle, the center of blade. If you actually sharpen the angle at this point all the way, what happens is that this is the shinogi line. It was not clear enough, so I drew it. But you can see the shinogi line as it goes down to the heel, it comes up. Because
I've done that before.
yes, I have done that as well. But
I actually really screwed up a knife once and had to give someone. Is that a Yuki? That's a Yuki.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really screwed up a Yuki doing that once and gave somebody a new knife.
Yeah. So it's the
Kasumi was so angry with me.
But now we know why it happened, right? So this is what happens when you sharpen or not really paying attention to what angle you are thinning or putting your bevels on. You can have that the heel goes up really like this, and the tip is actually not as wide, right? The width kind of narrows as it towards the tip here.
Mm-hmm.
Ideally, this is an exaggeration, but ideally the shinogi line would be like this. A little bit more, like tip is slightly more down, but the ideally it goes something like this. So some people do this really, really well. Some people do it knowing, like a lot of knife makers, they do it by just learning it, and they don't really think about it. they know how they change the angle, but they don't usually articulate that to us.
No, it was a total surprise. It was a total surprise to me.
Mm-hmm. They know.
Well, I wonder if some of the sharpeners don't even know they're doing that. Like, I don't know if because I think they know what to look for.
Yeah.
Right, and maybe they're just duplicating how they've been trained.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if some of them might not even think, "Oh, I'm changing the angle here." It's just what they do naturally.
Yeah, they may be. like yeah, especially when they're using the big wheels, they must change the angle a tiny bit like this, but they do it so naturally that they don't really tell us, right? Is there any questions that comes up, or we have a few people
I
watching?
haven't seen any questions at all.
Oh. Well, let me.
Naoto, remind people to ask questions.
Yes, yeah. The Kevin is watching on YouTube and Facebook, and I don't know if you're looking at the Instagram. I'm looking at Instagram.
I'm looking at Instagram right now, actually.
So if you have any questions, type that in. I'm. This is like it, I wanted to talk this a little bit, but it's more of the free question. You can ask anything type of situation. But here, how to avoid, I guess the more is important as well. So I'm gonna use a. Oh, where did my 220 go? Oh, here. So how to avoid is the really key, because it's a class. I want to teach people how to avoid those situations. One of the things that I learned back in January, I was taking a class from this crazy Fujiwara Masashi-san, who is a head of Japanese Knife Sharpening Association. Is that it's very simple to actually change the angle on the bevels. Basically, what he taught me is really to change the finger positioning from here to here, to the tip and down to the heel. So I'll show. It may be a little bit hard to see on the Facebook and YouTube, but hopefully you can see. When I sharpen the tip of my knife, especially the bevel here, I will put my finger down a little bit farther up here, so that whole bevel is touching down there. Then when I'm sharpening basically at the heel, I press down very close to the heel part. Gabe is asking something.
We've got some questions here now. So do you want to answer some questions, or do you want to keep going?
I'm just going to keep going, but you can ask questions.
Okay, here we go. Let's start at the beginning. Have you made or will you make a video about how to thin and usuba?
Oh, I like that.
Well, that's just called sharpening.
Problem is we don't have much usuba to sharpen. I did it the other day. I did sharpen usuba for my coworker.
But you don't have to thin an usuba so much as just sharpen it.
It's the basic sharpening requires a bit of thinning, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe you can explain that to us for a bit.
So the usuba, deba, or yanagiba, the traditional Japanese knives are made with the construction like this. This is here, as you can see, there is a primary bevel, goes right here, and the back is flat, or it actually has a little bit of concave. Every time we sharpen this, we actually put this bevel down and thin this whole bevel down. That's the proper way of sharpening these guys here.
Yeah.
So I guess you can call it the how to sharpen a single bevel. I kind of did all for the Yanagiba, but if someone wants to see specific to Usuba sharpening, Usuba is a little bit harder because you have to maintain that flatness. It's very hard.
And he's got a follow-up question. He says it seems almost impossible to have a straight shinogi on a flat stone.
Again, that is this finger, where to put the finger technique.
Yeah.
When I was actually at the Masashi Fujiwara-san's place, I spent 9 hours. 9 hours? Yeah. I went to his shop in the morning at 8, 9.
Yep.
Yeah. 9, and then spend until I was there until 6:30. All I did was actually sharpen my usuba. Well, we talked, but the knife that I sharpened was the Usuba. Only that's the only knife that I sharpened.
For 9 hours.
Yeah.
Does it always take 9 hours to sharpen an Usuba?
No. Not that shape as well. Usuba and Yanagiba, those guys requires a little bit more care and carefulness and some stuff like that. Like my knife wasn't straight to begin with, so it was to make it straight was the big part and all that stuff. So no, it doesn't take 9 hours to sharpen.
Good news, Naoto. Good news, Naoto. Gabe, our buddy Gabe in Calgary.
Yeah.
He said you can borrow his Usuba.
Yes.
That needs some work for a follow-up video about that.
Yeah, he has the Masakagi Usuba.
Mm-hmm. So you can borrow that if you want to do a video.
Yes.
Which would be great. And he is asking if the angle of attack on the bevel changes, then does the final cutting blade angle, will it be around 15 degrees?
So there are two angles going, right? So the as angle changes on the bevel, there's another bevel called secondary bevel or koba. It's just the edge edge angle.
It's small edge, right?
Small edge, micro edge. Some people call it itoba, which is the thread edge, as thin as thread. Anyways, you can definitely do a 15 degrees. It depends. I usually just put the regular angle as 15 on both sides. But if I want to give the extra strength on my heel, I sharpen at the heel slightly higher, and I sharpen at the so I change the angle even on the koba. I sometimes do that. So I'll show you how I do it. I mean, like I just change it, right? So look, hopefully it shows on the video here. I think it's a little bit easier on the Instagram, maybe.
I can see here.
Okay, so here you can see the angle, right?
Mm-hmm.
If I want to make the heel stronger, say like we have the customer come in with the knife that has a huge chip on the heel. I'm probably gonna make the heel slightly more stronger.
Yeah.
I put the angle like this on the heel.
So you just bring the knife, the spine, you raise the spine off of the stone a little bit higher.
And I'm just gonna do it very, just gonna do it like you see the angle changes as heel, belly, and you see when I'm sharpening on the tip here, it's much lower than here.
Yeah.
I sometimes do this. You don't have to.
That is super hard. Listen, that is super hard to do. You have to sharpen a lot of knives to be able to move the angle like that.
Yeah, you kind of have to get used to it, but you could do that, and you could do it for the other parts as well. Say you make your tip super thin, so that the angle that I'm going to put is going to be a little bit higher. Today I just sharpened one Masakagi Yuki, and it was really thin, but it had quite a bit of concave on the bevel. So I managed to make a little bit more convex edge, but by doing so, I made it very thin. So for that particular knife, I put the about 20-degree angle edge from both sides.
Ooh.
Because I could see it's like it can be very fragile.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
We've got some more here. Nathan from Kent of Inglewood with the big mustache. He says, I find it super hard to keep the edge on an Asuba straight. Any tricks for that? It sounds like we have to do an Asuba sharpening day. Maybe we should do that next week.
So Nathan, so I did sharpen his Usuba.
Right.
That was the coworker of mine that I was referring to was Nathan's. I think he gave to someone else, but the few things that you have to. Then this is what I actually had to struggle with. Really important to really important to see if your usuba is straight. A lot of people think usuba is really straight, but single bevel knives can warp over time very easy. So what I usually use again, it's the stones that's really nice flat stone, flattenable. It gets really flat and it keeps flatness very long time. This tells you if there is any low spots, high spots. So this is what I use to see if the knife is straight. Because if the knife is bent like this way, especially a suba, so single bevel, right? So if you have if the knife is bent, this way, there's high spots and low spots. High in the middle and low in the heel and the tip, right? Give me 1 second. I got a little bit of phone call. Sorry.
No, so you don't have to take them, do you?
This maybe just the driver, right? Hello.
Naoto's trying to sort out. Naoto had some work done on his car today, and he's trying to get it all sorted out. And I think they're delivering them the car, but he's run off now. Look at that. Well, you can see in Naoto's workshop area, he's got 2 sharpening stones behind him. There's 2 machines. There's one that's the wheel that spins this way, and one that the wheel spins this way like a record. And we use both of those for sharpening at the shop. Sorry, Naoto, I was just telling everybody about the machines behind you.
Yes.
So maybe you can give us a little rundown on the 2 machines you've got.
I have 2 machines here. One is one's my primary machine. Whetstone on top. It spins them sideways, shoots the water from the bottom, so that it keeps the stone nice and steel, nice and cool. This you sharpen the tiny bit of last edge, as well as the thinning and flattening the bevel. This one here, it needs the still bit of work, but it spins vertically and it shoots up the water. This is great to thin the bevel down, as well as to get the what we call it the urasuki, which as I kind of mentioned briefly, that single bevel knives have that little concave in the back, so that the urasuki part is fantastic. Okay.
Right, I've got some more questions. Do you want to field some questions here?
Absolutely.
All right. We've got, how many water stones should you own? This is my stupid question number 1. So he's asking his first question. He says it's stupid. It's not a stupid question, but he says, how many water stones should he own?
Right. It's sharpening stones. It's if you actually get into the deep into this sharpening world,
Okay, Naoto, how many do you own?
I only own 4 right now at home.
I've got
At home.
7 at home and a bunch at work.
So 3 is fantastic. Like if you were to just casually sharpen at home, 3 is great. When I sharpen knives here, I use at least probably 5, maybe 6 different stones. Depends on type of finish that I like to bring it to.
What are your most common stones? Like, okay, if somebody here, how about this now? If somebody brings you a Henkel 4-star knife, how do you sharpen that?
Depends on the edge, but I usually start from the pretty coarse 220 grit. When it's like really spoon dull, like you put your knife on a blade and do this. I'll do it with the 220, grind the steel really fast, and finish with the knife ware 1000. Because like these 2 stones are fantastic. Like that's why we have the knife ware.
So do Do you need anything else to go with those two stones?
Yeah, the another one here is the we use a little bit more expensive advanced flaming stone,
No. Yeah. Okay.
but
Sorry.
that's the one that's broken. But the use this to chew your stones because you want to maintain your surface flat, right?
Mhm.
Because it doesn't change the angle as you sharpen them. So that too is the start. And the knife or sets are fantastic. Again, we have a beginner set that has the 220 and 1000. We have a complete set, but we have another set actually consists of the 220, 1000, 4000. And you can choose the chewing stone to add to it. You can choose to add the sink bridge. You can choose to add the stone holders and such. So it's great.
And the Negara. No, you should be able to add that.
Yeah, he should be. Yeah, I have to double check.
Okay. Some more comments and questions here.
Yes. Oh, good.
How about this? This is the same guy.
Yeah.
Hinura-san. What are these knives like to sharpen? And why are they so hard to get a hold of? And are they really that difficult to maintain?
Difficult to maintain.
Well, he says, are they really that good, difficult to maintain? So I think he says, why are they expensive? Are they that good? How come they're hard to get? And are they hard to take care of?
All right, they're great. We are.
They're works of. Let's start here. They're works of art.
Yeah,
they're works of art by a true master, right?
Kind of paint, basically, kind of. You can still use them. Edge he puts on is fantastic. We've been pretty privileged to carry his knives for a number of years, and we've had
about 13.
Yeah, I know, and we've had customers who buys those knives and come back, and we sharpen them. And I've been privileged to actually sharpen his knives. The edge he takes is fantastic. The reason why it is a little bit more expensive than the others is that the work that he puts on, right? Especially the river jump line or Unryu line. Unryu or the river jumps, they have the hand folded layers of steel on the outside of the white carbon steel. So basically he takes the two different softer steel, forge welds, folds a few times. Then he stretches it and he wraps and coils around that the core steel, the white carbon, and it just takes tremendous amount of time. So that's one of the reasons why it's a little bit more expensive. And he does sharpening every knife that's done by called Tsukasa Saku. He has Ajikataya, which is his son is kind of in charge of, and another one Tsukasa Saku, which is his top of line. Every knife that the Tsukasa Saku knives, as far as I know, the Kurochi carbon steel ones are all finished sharpened by hand, which means there's no low spots on the bevel, so it's really easy to sharpen after. Sometimes, as I kind of mentioned, there's like knife that with the little bit concave bevel. There's no such a bevel for the Hinora-san, so it makes it sharpening so much more easier. Hey, I don't think they can see. I think it just sits on pinned on me. I think the camera is. Kevin was showing me his cat. So.
Yeah, my cat photobombed the place.
Anyway, so it's really easy to sharpen. It takes such fantastic edge because it's really easy to sharpen. Another thing is the what is it? The finish that he puts on is beautiful. He finishes with the Japanese natural stones, like various series that he has, and he does it with the listening to his jazz record.
I was going to say, have you seen his new sharpening room? Yeah. Oh, well, tell us about it. It's stunning.
Yeah, it's. Well, I have been there. I haven't been there yet, but they.
Oh, I've been there.
No, I haven't. But
I have. It wasn't done when I was there. I was just in the room.
I get to see because the little Niigata around that area they are doing this event right now. it's the they produced actually a really nice video of him the other day, and he was sharpening and he's sharpening on the in the room that has the really nice sound of the classic jazz record playing. It was fantastic. Anyway,
He's got a phenomenal turntable and speakers and a beautiful little tube amp, and he says he's got 3,000 jazz records.
I bet
And he really prefers saxophone jazz, like especially Charlie Parker.
Right.
He's like, old jazz is better jazz, and Charlie Parker is a god. He's a, but yeah. So I've brought him some records to play there too, because why not?
Yeah, exactly.
But it's a beautiful room, Naoto. It's beautiful.
Yeah, I have to go there. But
He built it right beside his office. Like he's built a new addition right beside his office, and it's 2 levels. So it's the top level is his sharpening.
Yeah, the he takes a lot longer to make, and that's another reason why it's really hard to come by his knife.
Well, he throws a ton of them out, Naoto.
Yeah. Oh, right.
Like if it has a scratch, it's gone. If the shinogi is a bit funny, it's gone. If he doesn't like the way the spine is curved, it's gone. Like he's really fussy.
Yeah.
Okay. Can you effectively thin a knife that has a bolster down the blade?
Yes, we can. Couple I guess things you have to do, because you have to either ground the bolster down a little bit, but basically it's all the same thing. It's like thinning a knife without the bevel. I sharpen it, and the heel I give you a little bit more higher and a little bit smoother down to towards the tip.
And
yes,
I've always used a belt sander just to grind down that horrible bolster.
Yeah, I use the both belt sander to do that as well. Yes, we're in Calgary.
Iceberg Mama wants to know her Takeda Nikiri is not totally flat. She wants it to be flatter. What can she do to change the profile?
You could, I mean, thing about Takeda-san's knives is that he doesn't really have the flat spot because how he makes knives. First of all, right? He forges, and he does use the grinder to get the shape out of it. But after that, he doesn't do much to reshape it. He doesn't use the cutter to cut into the shapes. He doesn't have the like template or stamps to actually make the shapes. So every knife is so unique. Making a knife edge flatter is a little bit hard, but I sometimes take that the challenge. I have this metal plate, pretty nice and flat aluminum, with the diamond stone on top of it. I usually use this to flatten the edge first. So basically, what I would do is so this is flat, right? So it may be a little painful for some people to watch, but I just basically go back and forth like this until it goes flat. Then thin out the blade. Takeda-san, because his bevel is a little bit interesting, it's different from other people. It may take a lot longer to make it completely flat.
But you know what? If that's what you're after, it'll be worth the time, right? If that's what you're after.
Yeah. Or get the Moritaka-san's Nakiri. If you really want a flat Nakiri.
Oh yeah.
Nakiri is fantastic.
I love how they're perfectly flat. I love how flat they are.
Yeah.
We got another question here. I read that Shibata-san uses different grits on either side of the blade. Why does he do that? And what grits does he usually finish with? And that's interesting because he has changed that.
He has changed that. He doesn't. It's his secret which stones he finishes. But he definitely uses two different.
Is that a secret? Because I know what they are.
I know what they are, but please don't. It's like he loves to work and practice and experiment with, and that's the kind of solution that he's got right now, and he doesn't want to share the information with someone else. So he does use two different grades of stones on one side and the other. A little bit coarser and finer for sure, but we can't really tell you uh, which grit that he uses and which stone he uses. But the
Well, I can tell you that he used to use 800 and 8,000.
yeah, he used to use that. Yeah. One of the reason why is that he thinks and we think as well. He gets the edge that's bitey but smooth. It's like best of both worlds kind of edge to it. Oftentimes though, if you see some of the deba, single bevel debas, I sometimes do that edge. On the back end, the uraoshi, I finished it at say 3,000, very nice and shiny. But the front side, the koba, I put about like 1,000 grit, so that it has more bitey edge to it.
Really, and I would have done it the other way.
Oh, I like really shiny back on that the uraoshi. So
Oh, interesting. Okay.
so
Here, let's. I got lots of questions here.
yes.
Oh, Iceberg Mama with the Takeda. She said, "Thanks. I'll bring it to the shop." So that's easy. What else do we have? How much are your electric whetstone sharpeners, and where can I buy one? It's hard. You have to know somebody in Japan, and it's always a pain in the butt for us. How often do either of you travel to Japan? I go in a normal year 2 or 3 times. Naoto goes probably once a year at least, if not twice.
Once a year, once 2 years.
Yeah, I haven't been this year. So that's that. Also, what do we have here? Anthony says, I just got a book called Knife Engineering by Dr. Laren Thomas.
Yeah.
It seems to be popular with the knife community. Maybe you'd be interested in Naoto.
Yeah, I am. I've been on his website. I've been on website, and I am thinking of purchasing a book. I haven't bought it yet, but I've been.
Do you know what? I haven't bought it yet either. But why don't you buy it? Just use the company card.
Yeah.
And then lend it to me after.
We'll do that.
Easy peasy.
Awesome.
Also, what about natural stones? Should I be using these, or are they for professionals?
Not necessarily for professionals. The natural stones, like there are a lot of sharpening enthusiasts and hobbyists likes to use natural stones. It's great for finish, great edge. It's not necessarily. It's great. It's a different type of edge, I guess. The natural stones, generally speaking, is fantastic for carpentry tools or the stray razors that that used to push it, or the goes push it to use. If that makes sense. The kitchen knives you slide to use, or the stray razors you push it down. The plain blades you push it down to use. Those blades, because the edge that it creates is a little bit more milder, where the synthetic stones gives you a little bit more toothier edge to it. So that's why if you like push it down to the materials, like or the beards, and they don't scratch your face as much, or they scratch the wood as much. So that's great. Some natural stones are fantastic to finish, keep making that really nice finish with and stuff like that. So some people would prefer that too. Like I have the 2 different types of natural stones. One's for makeups to make the making stone looks pretty, and another one is to finish or put the edge on. So there are like, and also the synthetic stones as well. There's like stones to make it pretty, and there's another one that's to put the last edge on and such. If that makes sense.
Makes sense to me. More questions.
Yeah,
we got some Instagram questions here.
I may have
Sorry?
As it's almost 5 o'clock.
Okay, well here, these are fast questions.
Yeah.
Do you see many Kaideo knives coming from Japan? The shape lends itself to rough treatment. I don't know what that is.
I don't know what that is either.
Okay.
I shapes.
Yeah, I've never heard of it. I don't know.
Not really. Technique help with right hand is whatever.
How about this? Does this sharpening technique help with right-handed use more than left-handed?
I don't know which technique he's referring to, but the thinning itself doesn't usually when you sharpen it from both ends, same angle, same proportion, you won't have any big right-handed, left-handed bias. Of course, the single bevel knives like these guys will definitely have more right-handed. Like this is right-handed knife with the bevel on the right-hand side, flat on the other. So the yeah, the definitely these guys do, but you can control how right-handed, left-handed you like to actually get too. So some people like to ask to make the one side more carved, the other side flat, which we may be able to accommodate. It just takes a little bit longer. So yeah.
Looks like he was asking about Chinese vegetable knives
Oh, the
and the different grit on each side. Does that affect the left or right-handed user?
oh, not really, not really. The
No.
it's just really micro bevel or the last edge to it. And the Chinese
Yeah.
cleavers, we will have some Chinese cleavers coming in pretty soon. So
We do, that's right.
yeah, check out the website. We'll have pretty good, super high quality one to pretty good price, very well priced. Like it's a like a beater kind of. You can just
Well, it's like one that you want to get to see if you're into them
yeah.
before you drop the big coins on a good one.
So we'll have those two as well as super good one made by Sugimoto.
Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't know that. That's fantastic.
Oh yeah.
Also, Knife Engineering is a great book, and have a look at Steel Metallurgy for the non-metallurgists. I've never heard of that book.
I've read a little bit about his articles on his website, and he is very knowledgeable of what he does. So I'm very I like to. Alrighty, I have to go. Sorry.
Yep.
I think I have my car maintenance, and I have to have the driver pick me up.
Perfect. Well, listen, thank you.
Yeah,
We've got some announcements. We've got Japanese Knife 101 coming up here on Tuesday at 4 p.m. Mountain, which was 2 p.m. Eastern. Or no, sorry, 6 p.m. Eastern on
November
Tuesday.
16th.
Sorry, Naoto?
November 16th.
Tell us.
November 16th, garage sale day. I just put some of the super fancy handles on the some knives today.
Oh, you didn't send me any pictures. That's a bummer.
No, I haven't. But
You should.
I
should, because I might steal one.
I'll do that once everything is done. But yes, so stay tuned. We'll see you guys. Well, this program is going to be on every week on Friday afternoon from 5 o'clock Mountain Time. I don't know, 4 o'clock Mountain Time. So if you want to tune in, and there's the Kevin's show every Tuesday afternoon from 4 as well Mountain Time.
Yeah.
So stay tuned. And there's like regular sharpening classes on Thursdays. So thanks for watching, everyone.
Yes, thank you. Ciao for now.
Thanks, Kevin. I'm just gonna. Sorry, I had to do this.
All right.